Joining us now, Alan Dershowitz, also on this testimony that is just underway now on Capitol Hill. Rod Rosenstein sitting next to Christopher Wray. They both look like they sat on pine cones. They look very uncomfortable up there on Capitol Hill. I'd be uncomfortable if I were they too. Professor Dershowitz, how you doing, Professor? Good to have you on.
I'm doing great, thank you. Waiting to have you come and visit us on the vineyard.
I know. I'm going to try to get up there this summer. I'm going to do my best, but I'm trying to get to Helsinki first. So I got to get.
I have nobody to have dinner with or lunch with these days on Martha's Vineyard, so I'm waiting for you to come up here.
I'm coming. It's definitely an appointment. It's appointment eating. Professor, let's talk about this Supreme Court nomination fight.
Sure.
The Democrats threw down yesterday. All of them: Schumer, Warren, Kamala Harris said basically we're going to do everything except throw our bodies on the transom of the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Sounds familiar. Familiar. It's what the Republicans did when the President Obama nominated Merrick Garland. So, both sides are politicizing the Supreme Court, and one hopes that the president will rise above that and be a statesman and appoint somebody great. I think the key issue for the president is not whether he's going to appoint a conservative. Of course he is. He got elected to do that. He has the right to do that. It's what kind of a conservative he appoints. Whether he appoints a conservative who believes in stare decisis, in precedent, and will not just go around trying to overrule prior decisions, or whether he appoints a conservative who sees a mission to try to overrule prior decisions. And, of course, it will center on Roe versus Wade. But remember, too, that liberals love precedent sometimes and hate precedent sometimes. Conservatives the same. Liberals, of course, loved it when the Supreme Court overruled Plessy versus Ferguson, and just the other day, Kawamatsu and gay rights cases to grant the right of gay rights. So we love it when precedent is violated to achieve liberal results, but we don't like it when precedent is violated to undercut liberal results. I think the same thing is true with the conservatives. So there's a lot of double standard on both sides. I would hope the president would just pick the most qualified person on that list. My favorite, probably I'm going to damn him with faint praise by saying it, is Senator Lee. I think he is an extraordinary intellect who has both political experience and has a first-rate legal mind. But as I said, that will probably damn him forever.
No. He's on the list, and I know the president has come to like him very much. And but Akhil Amar, Akhil at Yale, he's a Democrat, but he saw the list that included mostly federal appellate court judges, but a few state Supreme Court justices as well. And this is what he said yesterday.
I'm a Democrat. I voted for Hillary Clinton, but the list is a distinguished list. And even if the person picked is to the right of Justice Kennedy on some issues, that would only mean, frankly, from a political science perspective, that the middle of the court shifts to John Roberts. It doesn't shift all the way to the furthest right person on the court. And that's the new swing justice. There will always be a swing justice. It's just where that swing happens. And just to remind everyone, John Roberts is a very good man.
Your reaction to?
Look, I couldn't agree more. I wish Akhil were appointed to the Supreme Court. He'd be a phenomenal justice. Look, when John Roberts was appointed, I remembered him as a student. All of my liberal friends said you have to oppose him, and I said no. There's never been a more qualified individual appointed to the Supreme Court in my lifetime. Because here's a man who had argued so many cases successfully to the court. He was a scholar of the court, a practitioner of the court, and I thought he'd be an excellent justice, even though he votes against my views on many occasions. So I would like to see the court depoliticized. I would like to see great and distinguished people picked on the court, and I completely agree with Akhil Amar's assessment. I don't know all the people on the list, but the people on the list impress me. There's nobody on the list of the kind that some former presidents tried to nominate, just friends and cronies. These are a distinguished group of people vetted by the Federalist Society. This is a group vetted by people who want to see a distinguished justice. The last thing they want is a hack on the court.
No, and I think, look, Harriet Miers in 2006, which I led the charge to ultimately we ultimately forced the Bush administration to withdraw her name, which was embarrassing. But that was just an embarrassment. That was shocking that happened. Let's move on, though. We have a lot of other stuff to get to. The news that came out a couple of days ago, again leaked, but it sounds like someone at the Justice Department, that Mueller is the title of the piece was Mueller poised to zero in on Trump-Russia collusion allegations. And Professor, I'm thinking to myself, what the heck have they been doing the last year and a half?
Yeah. Now, I don't think they're going to find anything that rises to an indictable or impeachable offense. I think what he's looking for now is grist for his report. He's going to want to write, 150, 200-page report with lots of footnotes. I think there's a real constitutional question about whether prosecutors should be entitled to write reports. There are a lot of academics who believe that's not the right role of a prosecutor. Prosecutors are supposed to say two words: indict or no. That's it. That should be the end. They should be seen but not heard. The idea of writing a report, because it's always going to be a one-sided report. They only hear evidence that are against the people who are the subjects or the targets of the investigation. They don't hear exculpatory evidence. They don't hear defense evidence. They don't even give the defendant an opportunity generally to present his or her case. So a report's going to be extremely one-sided, but that's, I think, what we can expect. That coupled with some low-hanging fruit, some indictments of people who are peripherally involved in the campaign. Because when you appoint a special prosecutor, he better come up with something. Otherwise, he's wasted, $20-some-odd million, and people regard him as a failure. That's why special counsel are so dangerous.
Professor, the testimony from Rod Rosenstein today is going to focus on this document fight. It seems like a standoff. We've had deadlines. We've had all these points in place, and it seems like deadline after deadline gets ignored by the Justice Department. And they just say, "Oh, you have all the documents you need." What is this all about? And it does seem like when they withhold information, the information tends to be not helpful to the FBI.
Well, I think the best example was the Strzok message in which he said, "I'm going to stop this." That was not produced. They claim they didn't know it, but they have to start going through their documents, and checks and balances requires that the executive branch cooperate with the legislative branch so that there can be the kind of legislative oversight that's required. And that's why Congress has contempt power. Ultimately, they rarely use it against members of the executive, but it does hang like a sword of Damocles and can be used if there is an unwillingness to provide relevant information that Congress has the right to see.
Professor,
and I think the public has the right to see it also. The public has the right to hear Strzok testify. We have a right to see his face. We have a right to see what he looks like when he denies that he intended really to stop the election. That's a credibility determination. You can't determine credibility without seeing a witness.
Professor Alan Dershowitz, so great to talk to you, as always, for analysis. And we hope to have you on TV soon. I know you Skype it on TV because you're on the Vineyard, but love to do that soon.